Hello and welcome to this presentation about functions. In this video, you'll learn the definition of a function from a mathematical standpoint. You'll learn what the domain is, the range is, and we'll see an example of how to find the domain and range of a function. So let's get started. Here's the mathematical definition of a function from this calculus textbook from James Stewart. He's the author of the textbook. I like to start with these precise mathematical definitions just so that you can get everything right in your mind from the get-go instead of learning something that's oversimplified. So let's go with this formal definition and you can learn that well and learn it once. So a function f is a rule that assigns to each element x in a set capital X, or in a set X, exactly one element called f of x in a set Y. So this might take a second to understand and digest, but basically what it's saying is the function f is taking an element named lowercase x and mapping it to another element called f of x. And that element that's the result of the mapping from the function is in a set called y. So we have two sets, x and y, and we have elements in each of those sets. And something important about this definition is that there's exactly one element. You can't have an element x being mapped to, say, two elements. That wouldn't be a function. You need exactly one. So this is our formal definition of a function f. We're going to use this definition to define what the domain and range is. So think about what you would do in order to define the domain of a function. Okay, now I'll tell you the answer. The domain is the set x. Okay, so if we look at this definition again, here is the domain. Knowing that, I bet you can guess what the range is. Turns out the range is the set y. And that is our definition of the range. Okay, enough of this theory. Let's actually apply what we learned in an example. So now we have a function f of x equals the square root of x. What is the domain? Part B is what is the range, and we only use real numbers, so we're not going to consider complex numbers. Assume for the sake of this example that complex numbers do not exist. If you do not know what complex numbers are, that is totally fine. I just need to state that we're only using real numbers in order for the following analysis to make sense. Okay, so what is the domain? Here's the answer. The square root of a negative number is not defined because we're only using real numbers. So we need to exclude negative numbers from the domain. And this is how you can write the domain in set notation. The curly braces indicate that we're talking about a set. So this capital X is equal to a set. And we can specify what values of X can be used. So the way you read this is X equals X such that X is greater than or equal to 0. In this way, we're excluding the negative values of X because we're only allowing the values of X that are greater than 0. You can imagine trying to take the square root of a negative number, and that would be undefined in the context of this example. Okay, now let's think about the range. By definition, the expression the square root of x cannot generate a negative number. So again, we need to exclude the negative numbers, but this time we're excluding the negative numbers from the range instead of the domain. And we can do something similar and say that the range is the set y, because this time we need to use that different letter for the range, equals the set with the curly braces of f of x such that f of x is greater than or equal to 0. We are essentially excluding the negative values. That is our range. I hope this video helped you understand functions and how to find the domain and range of a given function. And thank you for watching.